said Kistler Ford Service Department is the best.
Speed problematic. And although it's not considered a contact sport, it is arguably among the most physically punishing. With over 30 cars engaging in wheel-to-wheel battles at nearly 200 miles per hour on a tightly congested track, the spectacle of NASCAR can be quite a rush. Now try to imagine how the driver feels. And if you hesitate to mix it up and trade some paint with a rival, you are defeated. After all, you can't move to the front by backing down. It's this perilous undertaking that has earned these men their reputation as the last true gladiators in American sport. Both car and driver have certainly sustained some incredible punishment in their pursuit of speed. Even when injuries are sustained, a way must be found to drive on, for this is not a sport of high-priced free agents and guaranteed contracts. This all-out approach to stock car racing finds its roots in the pioneers of the sport.
Well, really, when NASCAR first started, it was a whole lot wilder than it is today. I mean, they'd fight all night and race all day and then gamble and fight the next night. A lot of them were bootleggers. You know, they worked and done all the different things. They had a need for excitement, and speed was one of their outlets. They were just really a wild bunch when you really get right down to it. They, you know, raced up and down the road, and then when they got a chance to race on the racetrack, this was something else.
The beautiful sands of Daytona Beach, Florida might seem too pristine a setting for some of the seminal events in NASCAR history. But decades before the first stock car race, these smooth sands proved to be the most popular place for land speed record attempts. Visionary NASCAR founder Bill France knew that this would be the perfect place to showcase his new sport. Daytona became the mecca of stock car racing. Now in a surreal scene, the thunder of souped-up engines drowned out the sounds of the ocean. For the most part, the drivers of these cars weren't exactly the type of guys you'd expect to see hanging out on a beach. They were a boisterous group of ex-moonshiners known as the Wild Bunch. The most infamous of them all may have been Junior Johnson, the man author Thomas Wolfe called the last American hero. This legendary bootlegger drove in stock car races with the same reckless abandon he demonstrated on the dangerous back roads of the South. As successful as he was controversial, Junior ranks 8th on the all-time win list. The late Tim Flock was another moonshiner of note. This NASCAR prankster raced with a monkey in his car, but he also knew when it was time to get down to serious business.
Well, I won 40 Grand Nationals, and I won the point championship 2 times. So I thought I was a real good racer. Obviously, you just don't do that if you wasn't.
In 1955, he had easily the most dominant performance in Grand National history to that point, winning a whopping 18 races in just 38 starts. In that magical season, Flock drove for Maverick car owner Carl Kiekhaefer, who in 1956 continued to recruit some of the top drivers in NASCAR. Featured in Carl's racing stable were 2 of the best, Herb Thomas and Buck Baker. Thomas was arguably the steadiest performer of his generation, never finishing worse than 5th in the Grand National standings from 1951 to 56. Herb won 2 championships during that period and is the only driver from NASCAR's formative years to post double-digit victories in consecutive seasons. Colorful characters Fireball Roberts, Curtis Turner, and Joe Weatherly didn't enjoy that type of longevity as they all met with tragic early deaths. Fireball Roberts didn't get his nickname from racing.
Here he is, Glenn Fireball Roberts, a Daytona Beach boy who got his nickname pitching for the University of Florida baseball team. And he keeps it by driving in racing competitions.
Fireball could burn up the track. Regarded as one of the first superstars of the sport because of his engaging personality, Roberts won 35 poles and races during his 15-year career. Curtis Turner lived life in the fast lane. loved parties, women, flying his planes, and driving his race car. A fearsome competitor, Turner would not think twice of forcing you off the track if you got in his way. His sidekick, Joe Weatherly, was known for his practical jokes and free-spirited nature.
Every race, this guy would come up with something. One race, he stole all the keys. All the keys. And we're sitting on starting line. You know, I mean, he's the only one who had a key. The next race, he stole all the gas caps. You know, it's Joe Weatherly.
The Clown Prince, as he was called, got serious when he needed to, though. He won back-to-back titles in '62 and '63 before a fatal car crash the following year. In stark contrast to most drivers of his era, Lee Petty was a family man who was too focused on his job to party late into the night. His 54 victories, which is more than any of his peers, is a testament to his dedication and commitment to stock car racing. Petty was one of the few owner-drivers of his generation. He headed Petty Enterprises and passed on the tricks of the trade to his son, Richard. It was clear that the three-time Grand National champion wasn't just racing his car. He was building a NASCAR institution that would leave an indelible mark on the sport in the years to come.
Presenting the first USA PGA Tour Titanium MasterCard. With a 3.9% APR for the first 6 months, then a low 9.99% thereafter. There's no annual fee, a credit limit from $5,000 to $100,000, and a free gift. How can you get all this? By calling 1-800-533-5546 now. Think what it could bring you. Greens fees, $116. Graphite shaft clubs, $877. Lunch at the turn, $13.50. Balls, tees, $36. Hole in one. And a witness, priceless. There are some things money can't buy. For everything else, there's the first USA PGA Tour Titanium MasterCard. Call 1-800-533-5546 now and enjoy exceptional privileges and benefits. You could save hundreds of dollars by transferring your balances from higher interest rate credit cards. And you'll receive free a dozen Top Flight 3XL titanium golf balls with your first purchase or balance transfer. For a low 3.9% APR, a credit limit from $5,000 to $100,000, and no annual fee. Get the card that's a friend to golfers everywhere. Call 1-800-533-5546 and request the first USA PGA Tour or Senior PGA Tour Titanium MasterCard or the first USA Titanium MasterCard. The choice is yours, and so is this free gift. Call now.
We now return to Charlotte Motor Speedway and our host, Richard Petty.
Well, really, the first race I think I was ever flagged a winner was at Atlanta at Lakewood Speedway. When the race was over, we were flagged the winner, so no winner's circle. We stopped on the racetrack, and all of us are all excited about it. And then somebody comes by and says, "Well, they protested the race. Somebody's protested it." I said, "Man, what's going on?" Anyhow, they came back probably 10 minutes after that, and they said, "Yeah, the second place man protested you, and he won the race," which happened to be my father. They said, "Your daddy protested you. You know, they'd left him out of the lap or something because it was so dusty and all, and he wound up winning the race." And, you know, I guess he was just trying to tell me, hey, you know, when you win, that's fine, but when I win, you know, I'm going to take the win myself.
Although the greatest stock car driver of all time didn't win any races in his first season, he did show glimpses of greatness as he captured Rookie of the Year honors in 1959. The early 60s was a transitional period in NASCAR. The pioneers of stock car racing were getting older, and the sport was in need of new stars. The most consistent performer of that time was Ned Jarrett. In a 6-year span, he placed in the top 5 every season. Right on his heels was emerging star Richard Petty. In 62 and 63, he posted back-to-back second-place finishes, and then the following year, young Richard broke through with his first championship. As it turned out, he was just getting warmed up. In 1967, Petty had a season for the ages and for the annals of NASCAR. In coasting to his second Grand National title, Richard won an incredible 27 races out of a possible 48 starts. In a year of amazing achievements, Petty ran off one of the most staggering streaks in motorsports history as he posted 10 consecutive NASCAR victories, including this run at the Southern 500.
Richard Petty wins the Southern 500.
It was a crowning achievement for a man who is now known simply as the King. In so doing, Petty had created an aura that went beyond the numbers. He was now racing royalty, a man whose success and style on the track helped attract the attention of mainstream America. The King added to his legend in 1971 when he went on to win 21 races. He then proceeded to win 4 titles over the next 5 years. What made Petty's growing list of accomplishments all the more remarkable was the high level of competition he faced every time he stepped onto the racetrack. Contemporaries David Pearson, Bobby Allison, and Cale Yarborough ranked 2nd, 3rd, and 5th, respectively, on the all-time win list.
David Pearson, graying hair on the outside and lots of gray matter on the inside, have earned him a nickname, the Silver Fox.
The Silver Fox was a cunning driver who was Petty's most respected adversary. Pearson's the only other man to surpass the 100-win plateau. If Richard was the king, then David was certainly the crown prince. And when they battled each other, one had a sense that they were witnessing the 2 greatest drivers of all time going head-to-head.
We ran on dirt tracks, short tracks, big tracks, road courses, and anywhere you went, he was competition, and hopefully I was some competition to him.
Despite the frequency and intensity of their encounters, Petty and Pearson were always respectful and even downright friendly. Petty went so far as to say that David's the best driver he ever ran with. In contrast, Richard Petty and Bobby Allison had a rivalry in the truest sense. The self-made modified hotshot from Alabama came on the NASCAR scene in 1965 and immediately set his sights on knocking off the sport's most visible star.
Bobby came out of the modifieds where he blew everybody away, so he was sort of a new kid on the block, but he said, well, I beat everybody there, I'm going to be king of the big hill here. It didn't work that way because I was already there.
Allison's self-admitted obsessive approach to racing might have irritated his opponents, but people in the stands viewed it as passion. He was voted NASCAR's most popular driver 6 times. Bobby's perseverance finally paid off in 1983. After 5 second-place finishes in the season-ending championship standings, Allison won his first and only Winston Cup title in his 19th year on the circuit. Cut from the same cloth as Daredevils Joe Weatherly and Curtis Turner, Cale Yarborough was best known for pushing his life and his car to the limit. He was the first stock car racer to qualify at over 200 miles per hour at Daytona, where he ran a record 13 times from the pole position. In 1976 through 78, Cale's unbridled need for speed made him the only man in NASCAR's 50-year history to win 3 straight championships.
The familiar number 43 is now number 1.
Breaking Cale's stranglehold on the Winston Cup title was Richard Petty again. The King won his 7th and final NASCAR title in 1979. His best years behind him, Petty continued to race. He won his 200th race in 1984 with the President of the United States in attendance. This incredible achievement is one of sport's untouchable milestones.
Win 200th race at Daytona in front of the President of the United States. You won it on the last lap. Beat somebody as good as Cale Yarborough. You know, it was just July the 4th, you know, whatever. Everything just fell together that day, so I guess that's probably your most fondest memory.
When the King finally retired after 35 years in racing, he owned every conceivable NASCAR record. But that only begins to illustrate his impact on NASCAR. To this day, he remains the sport's foremost icon who's developed an intimate relationship with his legion of ardent admirers.
The fans have made Richard Petty. Richard Petty could have done the things that he's accomplished over his career and stuff, and it would be a zero without the fans.
The 1992 season was called the Richard Petty Fan Appreciation Tour, with touching tributes at every stop along the way. And in the King's final race, the images simply told the story. Coming up next, we'll relive the most dramatic moments from NASCAR's most celebrated race, the Daytona 500.
Do you like to draw, or paint, or maybe just sketch and doodle? Well, if you do, chances are you have the interest needed to become a serious art student. To find out, simply call toll-free, and Art Instruction Schools will send you this enjoyable art test. There's no cost or obligation. Take the test at home in your spare time and mail it to us when you're done. Our experts will review and grade your test. Call our toll-free number today for your free art test. Don't let the wonderful world of art pass you by. To get your free art test without cost or obligation, call this toll-free number. Don't delay. Call this toll-free number now. Call 1-800-459-1991. That's 1-800-459-1991.
4 wheels, 2 wheels, all wheels in the air, or no wheels at all. Duke Video's got it. For a free catalog of the largest and most spectacular collection of auto and motorcycle racing videotapes in the world, call 1-800-DUKE-USA now. The best of Formula One, sports cars, motorcycle racing, historic races and documentaries, legendary drivers and riders, great marks, extreme videos, rally, over 600 video titles. Call 1-800-DUKE-USA for a free catalog.
What if there was this great diary, and in it was written every story of the outdoors that has ever been told? Stories of gray mornings, brown dogs, page after page logged with adventure. What if there was a diary like that? Would you be in it?
To get the Outdoor Life Network, call your local cable operator or satellite distributor.
Once again, here's Richard Petty.
We kept hearing they was going to build a big speedway at Daytona, and we kept waiting for it. In '59, they got the thing built. I can remember going through the tunnel at Daytona the first time I'd ever seen a racetrack, and popped up into the infield. 21-year-old kid looked in that thing, and there was nothing in the infield, a little bitty grandstand over there. And as far as you could see, the racetrack was way down there. I mean, it's a humongous racetrack. Up till that time, we'd run mostly dirt tracks. Darlington was only super speedway, half-mile tracks, quarter-mile tracks. So racing is just getting started. And this was a big, big boost for us to be able to run a 500-mile race on a super speedway. And I think that everybody then looked at NASCAR and said, hey, this is one of the first things that's going to make us a lot bigger organization than what we are.
The 1959 Daytona 500 was a very special event. This inaugural race was a festive affair, complete with all the pageantry one might expect at a major sports event. All of the superstars of stock car racing's formative years were in attendance, and they were determined to make stock car history in front of a crowd of almost 42,000. Early on, rookie Richard Petty experienced engine trouble and had to make a quick exit from the race. In typical NASCAR family tradition, he changed roles and became the crew chief for his father, Lee Petty. Meanwhile, Fireball Roberts looked like the early favorite in an event that featured no caution flags. But like so many others, the new super speedway took its toll on Roberts' Ford. He too had to bow out of the race. Master mechanic Lee Petty had prepared his number 42 Olds to withstand the rigors of Daytona, but shadowing his every move, the number 73 Ford driven by Johnny Beauchamp. A captive audience knew that this race would go down to the wire, and on the final lap, Petty and Beauchamp were neck and neck, with Joe Wetterly almost 2 laps behind, right beside them. Initially, Beauchamp was declared the winner, and he even celebrated in victory lane. But the second-place finisher had lodged a protest. Almost 3 days later, Petty was given the official win after careful scrutiny of photographs clearly showed him 3 feet ahead of Beauchamp at the finish. This photo finish not only thrilled the NASCAR world, but also helped to change it. From that point on, there would always be a film camera at the finish line. Nearly 2 decades later, the King and Silver Fox of NASCAR were the 2 central figures in another classic Daytona moment. 1976 was the height of the Richard Petty-David Pearson rivalry, so it was no surprise to see these 2 living legends battle each other for the majority of the Daytona 500. But few could have anticipated what would happen on the final lap when Pearson passed Petty on the backstretch. Then in turn 4, the 2 drivers banged doors and spun crazily down the front stretch.
They both spin. They're in the wall. Petty is sliding, slamming into the wall. He's coming down toward the finish line. Will he make it? He's still moving. The car stops 300, 400 feet shy of the finish line. Pearson, while
Petty couldn't restart his car, Pearson managed to crank up his Purolator Mercury. A helpless King could only watch as the Silver Fox crawled to the finish line for his first and only Daytona 500 win.
An amazing...
He had me beat. If he would have just stayed down low and went on to the thing, he had me beat, because he was really running that day.
An unbelievable finish, a terrible crash. Both cars in the wall, both drivers kept on going.
I didn't blame him, and he didn't blame me. It was just one of those things.
Word of this wild finish spread quickly, and with it, NASCAR began to receive exposure like never before. 3 years later, in 1979, CBS became the first network to broadcast the 500 from start to finish. Daytona would not disappoint. Throughout the race, Cale Yarborough and Donnie Allison were dueling for the lead, and like in 1976, it was the final lap that would provide all the drama.
Donnie Allison was leading the race, but I had him set up just where I wanted him for that last lap slingshot. Donnie saw me coming, and instead of holding his line, he tried to put a block on me, and which was okay, you know.
I was not going to let him have the bottom lane of the racetrack down the back straightaway.
These 2 aggressive drivers got into it in turn 3 and wound up taking each other out of the race.
We beat and banged and hit the wall and tore our cars all to pieces.
I wasn't mad. I was very hurt.
Richard Petty avoided the crash and edged out Darrell Waltrip by a car length for his 6th Daytona 500 win. The race might have been over, but the action wasn't.
Ended up in the infield down there, a little fisticuff.
Bobby did stop and asked, was I all right? I said, yes, I am. And Cale walked over and said something not very nice to Bobby, and then punched Bobby through the window. Well, I ran and grabbed Cale, and I said, you know, if you want to fight, I'm the guy I should be fighting with.
It was on live CBS television, first time in history live, and we were down there fighting in the grass. We've been friends. That was just something that happened on the racetrack, but we're friends today and have been friends ever since.
The 1979 Daytona 500 was a crucial event in NASCAR's history. Today, it's generally credited with being the launching point for the boom in popularity that the sport's enjoyed. Coming up next, NASCAR enjoys a heightened level of popularity as a talented group of newcomers claim the spotlight.
This race started in Europe, but the finish line is in Monterey. The Visa Sports Car Championships, presented by Honda, come to Laguna Seca Raceway, October 23rd, 4th, and 5th. Saturday, teams from Ferrari, BMW, Ford, and Chevrolet battle it out in the U.S. Sports Car Championship finale. Sunday, the exotic FIA GT cars of Mercedes, Porsche, Viper, and BMW compete to decide the FIA GT World Champion. For tickets, call 1-800-327-SECA or visit any Bass ticket outlet. For the best of both racing worlds, it's Laguna Seca Raceway.
Hi, I'm Bob Vila, and this is Craftsman innovation at its best. RoboGrip pliers, the best-selling single tool in Sears history. What makes the Craftsman RoboGrip so different? Arc joint pliers take 2 hands to adjust. Even then, they don't always fit and can round off corners. Craftsman RoboGrip pliers are the world's first self-adjusting one-handed pliers. With just a simple squeeze of the spring-loaded handle, the jaws automatically adjust for a perfect fit. Craftsman is the leader in hand tool breakthroughs, and RoboGrip is the proof. RoboGrip has laminated construction, too, for extra toughness and durability. And like all Craftsman hand tools, RoboGrip is guaranteed forever. And now Craftsman RoboGrip pliers are available in a versatile 3-pack with a 9-inch curved, a 9-inch V-notch, and a 7-inch straight RoboGrip, a $70 value for only $49.99. And it comes with protective RoboGuards, too. The RoboGuards slip on and off easily to protect chrome, brass, and other fine finishes. The Craftsman RoboGrip's offset head and unique interlocking steel jaws are designed for maximum gripping power. See how the jaws stay parallel while you clamp. They're tooled so precisely you can even pick up a pin. The handle is a Craftsman RoboGrip exclusive, ergonomically designed so it's comfortable and easy to use. The Craftsman RoboGrip works on faucets, pipes, and hoses, or for auto repairs. It has hundreds of household uses. The Craftsman RoboGrip 3-pack is a $70 value for only $49.99. A great gift idea. And because Craftsman RoboGrip pliers are from Sears, your satisfaction is guaranteed or your money back. Innovation made these pliers the best-selling single tool in Sears history. They're just one more example of how Craftsman makes anything possible.
Have your Sears or other credit card ready and call 1-800-491-5577 to order your RoboGrip 3-pack with exclusive RoboGuards for only $49.99. This is a $70 value if ordered separately. Call 1-800-491-5577 to order now.
Hi, I'm Dick Clark, and now everyone can enjoy the freedom of the new ISIS cellular phone from Philips thanks to prepaid cellular.
Introducing prepaid cellular from Worldwide Direct. With prepaid cellular phone cards, there's no monthly bills.
Take the phone just in case.
Thank you.
And no contract, no credit check, and no deposit. Got car trouble?
My car's broken down. Can you come and help?
Help is just a call away. So forget those outrageous phone bills. With prepaid cellular phone cards, buying airtime is easy. Order from home and the phone arrives at your door ready to use. Get the Philips ISIS prepaid cellular phone. A $199 value, now just 3 easy payments of $33. And there's no contract, no credit check, no deposit, and no monthly bills.
So pick up the phone, America. It's for you.
Now, for only 3 payments of $33, you're guaranteed cellular service regardless of your credit history. Call 1-800-284-3822. Pick up the phone, America. It's for you.
Mr. Craig Breedlove, Mr. Van Speedwrecker, thinking he could drive 350 miles an hour down my highway. You don't have any idea why I stopped you, do you? Speeding? Wind resistance, son. Drag! All right, nothing more to see here. You can move along. Pack up your chute and go.
Speedvision, all the speed you need.
Let's return to the Charlotte Motor Speedway and our host, Richard Petty.
Well, the 79 Daytona 500 was the first time that we had been on TV flag to flag. CBS had it. It was a nationwide deal. They had a snowstorm on the East Coast, and everybody was at home watching it on TV. I think it started the TV era. And once it started the TV era, then the other TV people could see this was the way to go. You know, from that standpoint, I think that the networks and everybody's seen that, hey, we can put on TV, the race flag to flag. We can make it exciting, which it is exciting. And I think it really ushered in a whole new era in NASCAR racing.
As the 1980s ushered in a new age of NASCAR on television, Darrell Waltrip became the sport's first made-for-TV personality. His brash, cocky style and his tendency to run his mouth earned him the nickname Jaws, given to him by Cale Yarborough.
We had a lot of fun with that, and people thought that we were mad and going to fight and going to wreck each other, and that wasn't the case at all. But it created a lot of tension for the fans and all, because they get involved in that stuff too, and it's good for the sport, I think, to have a little rivalry every now and then.
But Waltrip challenged the older generation with his racing as well as with his lips. He earned back-to-back championships in 1981 and 82 by beating out a brash icon of the previous generation, Bobby Allison. By the time he earned his third championship in 1985, Waltrip had rammed his way into the 80s and helped pave the way for a new generation of drivers.
I've had an interesting career because of the fact that I felt like I raced with the guys that really helped build the platform that we all stand on today, plus being able to race with the guys that are stars in the sport right now.
Of all the new aggressors pushing their way to the front of the pack, only one of them would earn the right to be called the Intimidator. In 1979 and 1980, Dale Earnhardt burst onto the scene by becoming the first driver in NASCAR history to follow Rookie of the Year honors with a driving championship the very next year. He learned his fierce and fearless driving style from his father, Ralph, who early gave him some simple advice. Establish your territory. The Intimidator took this credo to heart, staked his claim as stock car racing's most revered and feared driver. His competitors have compared passing Dale Earnhardt in a race, trying to take a tennis ball from the mouth of a pit bull.
Dale had a pretty tough reputation, and you know, here's this Rudd kid, who's he? He's out there tangling with the baddest guy in town, and I learned a lot from that. I learned discipline, learned how to be a better driver because of those days with Earnhardt, and had a lot of fun. I enjoyed that.
Earnhardt would go on to win 2 more championships in the 1980s, back-to-back titles in 1986 and 87, establishing himself as the decade's most dominant force and one that inspired both love and hate. For Bill Elliott, fan appreciation came easily. Awesome Bill from Dawsonville, as he would come to be known, emerged as a perennial favorite, voted as the most popular driver an unprecedented 12 times.
You can come to the racetrack and have a bad day, and you can walk out and somebody pat you on the back and say, you know, I'm with you through thick and thin. You know, then you can hold your head up.
Elliott also happened to be a pretty talented race car driver. In 1985, he won a record 11 super speedway races, including 3 of the Big Four, earning him the Winston Million Award and another nickname, $Million Bill. A championship was soon to follow for Elliott as he took the Winston Cup title in 1988, beating out Rusty Wallace.
Yeah, I've nipped Bill a couple times. He's nipped me a couple times. There's always a gunfight at the end going on, it seems like.
In the final year of the decade, the determined Rusty Wallace came back and won a first championship of his own. Wallace would lead a new generation of racers into the next 10 years. Drivers such as Terry Labonte, Ricky Rudd, Kyle Petty, and Jeff Bodine would also see success in the 80s and help build anticipation for the can't-miss decade of the 90s.
Now you can have your very own cellular phone absolutely free.
Finally, a cell phone I can afford.
No deposit, no credit check, no turn downs. Just one great phone totally free. Now you can have the security and convenience of your own free cellular phone.
This is definitely the way to go.
With Quintel Cellular, there's no activation fee, and your cellular phone is free.
Now I'm back in business.
Compact, memory features.
It has everything you need or want in your cellular phone. Call now and find out how you can get your very own Quintel Cellular phone for free. There's no deposit, no credit check, no turn downs, no activation fee. Just one great phone, absolutely free. Call now.
Call 1-800-214-4827.
Geico presents the following safety tip.
The most dangerous time to drive is Sunday at 2 a.m. when people are returning from parties and long weekend trips. If you must drive late at night, take extra care.
Am I on? Geico Direct could save you hundreds of dollars on car insurance. Result?
Smaller bill.
Geico. A 15-minute call could save you 15% or more. At Geico, we get the ball rolling on your claim quickly. Even in the middle of the night. Geico. A 15-minute call could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Its beginnings may have been humble some 50 years ago, starting with a man named Big Bill and some hard-driving men with sand in their $2 shoes. But it's become the fastest-growing spectator sport in America, from the beaches of Florida to the shores of California. But while our beginnings may have been humble, rest assured that where we're headed will be too.
Thank you, Rusty.
No, thank you.
Because this is NASCAR, and this is our second 50 years.
You know, when we first started telling golfers that oversized is overrated, tour pros kept coming up to me and saying, "Come on, Raj, is the tri-metal really that good?" All I do is put it in their hand, because once they've hit this club, they've just got to have it in their bag. No club climbs to #1 on any pro tour without paying players, unless it's head and shoulders better than anything else they're using.
In the tri-metal, what you see is the culmination of 38 years of commitment to making the highest quality, best performing golf clubs in the world. That's a family tradition.
The robot proved the tri-metal is both longer and straighter. What's even more impressive about the tri-metal is how easy it is to hit. You can tee it low and hit long, straight drives off the tee. Or you can even hit it from a bad lie like this. Some of the most trusted experts in the game are talking about the tri-metal.
I've been doing television for 31 years, and people have learned to trust me. And I'm using it because two things. It looks good to me, and I hit it farther than anything else in my bag. Put the tri-metal in your bag.
This club, this technology is for real. It's the direction golf is headed. If you love golf, you owe it to yourself to give it a try. The fastest, easiest way is to call the 800 number. Oversized is over. The tri-metal is the right size club.
Call now to receive your free video on the #1 club in golf. When you call, we'll also rush you a free 1-year subscription to Great Golf Magazine, the insider's guide to new technology, stroke-saving tips, and in-depth interviews from the world of golf. Call the number on your screen now for your free video and complimentary subscription to Great Golf Magazine.
Once again, here's Richard Petty.
Well, basically, NASCAR started as a family. With Bill France and his sons, you know, and his wife running the NASCAR organization. I think that we can bring our families, we can enjoy our families, we can be at outings together. So I guess there's been, you know, 10 or 12 father-son operations, and there's been 15 or 20 brother-brother or brother-cousin racing. And so I think as it progresses, it's not getting away from the family deal. I think it's getting more and more family.
Built into the very fabric of NASCAR is a tradition of teaching and teamwork that passed among siblings and through generations. The whole notion that the common good takes precedence over individual goals has helped foster a strong family type of atmosphere that spanned over half a century of stock car racing. Here are some compelling examples. The first great racing family was the Flocks. Bob, Bonnie, and Tim honed their high-speed skills as moonshiners and became the only trio of brothers to win at NASCAR's highest level. Buck Baker was the first back-to-back champion in 1956 and 57. He passed on his knowledge of the sport to his son Buddy, a 19-time Winston Cup winner. He became the first man to break the 200-mile-per-hour barrier in a stock car. Ned Jarrett is another patriarch of a racing family. The 1961 and 65 Grand National champion is perhaps best known for being a respected broadcaster and father of Dale Jarrett, one of the superstars in Winston Cup racing today.
You know who I'm pulling for. It's Dale Jarrett. Bring her to the inside, Dale. Don't let him get down there. He's going to make it. Dale Jarrett's going to win the Daytona 500.
1993, winning the Daytona 500, my first time and my dad calling it. I think those are two things that I can remember that really make this sport special because of the family aspect of it.
The Allison Racing Dynasty is a saga of triumph and tragedy. Brothers Bobby and Donnie founded the Alabama gang in the 60s. This rough and tumble duo took the sport by storm. Donnie was the Rookie of the Year in 1967, and Bobby went on to become one of NASCAR's all-time greats. Bobby stayed around long enough to compete against his son, Davey. The 1988 Daytona 500 featured a classic confrontation between generations as the elder Allison held off a spirited charge from his heir apparent. Tragically, Davey, who was one of NASCAR's rising stars and the Daytona 500 winner in 1992, died in a helicopter crash 1 year later. And as if that was not enough heartache for one family, younger brother Clifford was killed in a crash at Michigan only months before. An up-and-coming father-son pairing is the Earnhardts. Dale learned the tricks of the trade from his father, Ralph, a short-track legend of the 50s. The 7-time Winston Cup champion will soon compete against his son, Dale Jr., who now runs in NASCAR's Busch Grand National Series. Other current-day family ties include 3-time Winston Cup champ Darrell Waltrip and his brother Michael. Brett Bodine races with siblings Todd and 82 Rookie of the Year Jeff. There's also the Wallace boys, Kenny, Mike, and 1989 champion Rusty. One of the more emotional family moments in recent NASCAR memory involved the Texas driving duo of Terry and Bobby Labonte.
It was when I won the second championship, the last race of the year in Atlanta. We won the championship. My brother won the race, and we made a victory lap together.
Hey, congratulations, you guys. Thank you, Jeff. Appreciate it, buddy.
Without question, there's only one royal family in stock car racing. From Lee to Richard to Kyle, the Pettys are a NASCAR institution. And now Adam, a fourth-generation Petty, has launched his own driving career in the late model sportsman division.
My father did this, I did it, my son did it, now I got a grandson doing it. And, you know, from that standpoint, I guess whichever comes along after that, they're going to probably be doing it too.
Collectively, the Pettys have won over 260 races and have left an indelible mark on the sport. Naturally, no one has done more than King Richard. In addition to being stock car racing's most popular figure, he's also its most accessible, helping to create a sense of family that extends beyond bloodlines. Now it seems as if everyone who attends a race feels part of something special. Coming up next on Speedvision NASCAR at 50, NASCAR in the 90s, and a new wave of drivers who issue a challenge to the sport's established stars.
Speedvision presents the Auto Safety Tip of the Week.
Auto theft is on the rise. In order to minimize the chances of someone stealing your car, always park in a well-lit area. Do not leave your keys in the ignition, even in your own driveway. Do not hide a spare key in the car. Do not leave packages, purses, or other easy-to-remove items inside your car, and make sure all the doors are locked before leaving.
Do you ever just have one of those days? Well, at Farmers Insurance, everything we do is about getting things back to normal. Isn't that what insurance is supposed to do? Farmers, get you back where you belong.
The unconventional jungle war in Vietnam required unconventional response. Some of the missions have become legend. Wings Over Vietnam combines rare combat footage with first-hand accounts of airmen who were there. Call today to order your collector edition of the first 6 programs in this historic television series. To order Wings Over Vietnam home video, call 1-800-WINGSPAN. That's 1-800-946-4772.
Oil, your car's lifeblood. Yet changing your motor oil every 3,000 miles is such a hassle and expense. You need AMSOIL, the first API-certified synthetic motor oil, delivering guaranteed protection for 7,500 miles or 6 months. Developed by a fighter pilot, AMSOIL reduces wear up to 50% in industry wear tests. Up to 60% of engine wear occurs during initial startups. AMSOIL delivers easier cold starts because AMSOIL flows freely when conventional oils won't go. So AMSOIL gives your engine the extra protection it needs.
AMSOIL gives our equipment the best possible protection from wear, resulting in increased fuel efficiency.
With AMSOIL in my own car, my mileage jumped 3 miles per gallon, a 10% increase.
I am totally sold on AMSOIL. It really makes a difference.
In high-temperature volatility tests, AMSOIL outperforms leading brands by almost 100%. The result, more fuel economy and better wear protection. AMSOIL, proven over 25 years and billions of miles. Used by racers and major truck and auto fleets. Installed by Quick Lube shops nationwide. To find out more about AMSOIL XL 7500, call toll-free now to order a free AMSOIL catalog featuring AMSOIL XL 7500 and over 60 other AMSOIL premium automotive products, each guaranteed to improve your car or truck's performance. Call toll-free now for your free catalog, 1-800-482-9229, 1-800-482-9229. Order now.
We now return to Charlotte Motor Speedway and our host, Richard Petty.
I really feel good about the way NASCAR is handling themselves and the way the new crowd or generation that comes in with the drivers and owners and stuff. You know, I was there when it first started, and you had a crowd like my father and Curtis Turner and that crowd. Then you had another crowd that came through with the Petties and Allisons and all that crowd. And then you had another crowd with Earnhardts and Waltrips. You know, people like that took it to another level. Now you've got a new crowd that's coming along. It's taking it to another level. And I think they've learned, looking back at how some of the boys did it when it first started and as it progressed, and they're just continuing the tradition. And I see the new drivers and the new people coming in continuing that, and as long as they continue that, I feel really good about it.
Like its previous 4 decades, NASCAR in the 90s is not only filled with legendary drivers, but with legends in the making. There are many fantastic young stars fighting to ascend to the greatest heights of Winston Cup racing, with one in particular who's already soaring. In 1995, Jeff Gordon sought to declare himself NASCAR's heir apparent as he became, at age 24, the youngest Winston Cup champion in history. The next year, Gordon collected more wins than any other driver as he finished second to Hendrick Motorsports stablemate Terry Labonte for the driver's crown. Then in 1997, Gordon won his second driver's title in 3 years, serving notice that he would be the one to carry the torch into the next millennium.
The short period of time I've been involved with Winston Cup racing, I don't know if I necessarily earned my way onto it, but I'm proud to be a part of it.
However, it seems the old guard is not quite ready to relinquish its throne. Champions of the 80s, such as Rusty Wallace and Bill Elliott, continue to push their way into top 10 positions in the standings. Other drivers, such as Ricky Rudd and Mark Martin, continue their runs as NASCAR's models of consistency, with Martin the only driver to finish 6th or better in the point standings every year since 1989, and Rudd earning at least 1 Winston Cup victory in each of the last 15 years.
No, I'd have to say that just being fortunate to be with a lot of good race teams over the year. I've driven for a lot of great race teams, a lot of great crew chiefs, and as we built our team here at RPM, we feel like we've aligned ourselves with awful good people, and also I'd have to say the desire to want to do well and want to win.
Perhaps the most compelling example of the old school's stubborn refusal to step down is Dale Earnhardt. From 1990 to 94, Dale Earnhardt owned Winston Cup racing. Having been one of the superstars of the 80s, Earnhardt reached yet another level of stardom with back-to-back championships in 1990 and 91, and again in 1993 and 94. His 94 crown gave him his 7th career title, tying the King, Richard Petty, for the most in history. And 4 years later, the Intimidator showed he's still a racing force to be reckoned with. Realizing a lifelong dream, Earnhardt finally captured the one victory that eluded him his entire 19-year career, a win at the Daytona 500.
The Daytona 500 is ours. We've won it, we've won it, we've won it.
Bringing the sport into the 21st century, Jeff Gordon will face challenges at every turn, from new faces as well as old ones. must not only continue the torrid racing that has earned him over 30 wins in less than 6 full seasons, but he must also equal his predecessors' examples as ambassadors of NASCAR, reaching out to its ever-growing fan base. When looked back upon some years from now, the 90s may well be looked upon as a golden era in the sport's history. Of the 50 greatest drivers of all time selected by NASCAR earlier this year, 12 are currently competing, making this one exciting time to be a stock car racing fan. Coming up next, some final thoughts from the sport's greatest as we pay tribute to the top 50 drivers in NASCAR history.
So to be on a short list like that is a great accomplishment. I'm very proud of it.
Here's another breakthrough from Craftsman. It's the clench wrench, available only from Sears. All jobs become easier when you have the right tool. For stubborn nuts and bolts, you need super gripping power. With the Craftsman clench wrench, the harder you pull, the tighter it grips. As you apply more pressure to the handle, the pivoting jaw holds the bolt tighter and tighter. And Craftsman's headlock design grips nuts and bolts on the flat, away from the corners, for less damage or rounding off. The clench wrench automatically self-adjusts to 15 popular standard and metric size nuts and bolts, so there's no guesswork. This convenient tool can do the job of all these wrenches, so you only need one tool for dozens of household and automotive projects. At $19.99, the clench wrench is a real value, and because it's a Craftsman hand tool made in America, it's guaranteed forever. Its heat-treated laminated steel plate construction provides maximum strength and durability, so the clench wrench can take on the toughest jobs. Even an old bolt with rounded corners is not a problem for the Craftsman clench wrench. And the contoured rubberized handle is easy on your hand. Its pivoting jaw leverages more grip to the bolt, so the job is done tight, done right. With its spring-loaded jaw and easy-open thumb lever, the clench wrench is a snap to use. Once in place, it's self-ratcheting. Just swing the handle back and it automatically resets. You don't have to remove and reposition it after each turn. And its versatile one-handed design works in either direction. Just flip it over. Socket wrenches don't always fit into tight spots. The clench wrench is a slim half-inch wide, perfect for narrow places. Finally, a self-adjusting ratchet action wrench that not only fits, it actually grips. The Craftsman clench wrench is one more example of how Craftsman makes anything possible. Order yours today.
Have your Sears or other credit card ready and call 1-800-569-8448. That's 1-800-569-8448 to order your Craftsman clench wrench for only $19.99 plus shipping and handling. Call 1-800-569-8448 now.
Once again, here's Richard Petty.
Well, out of the top 50 drivers of NASCAR, you know, I feel real fortunate that I was involved in that. Of course, I drove for 35 years, so kind of had to put me in. But, you know, I drove against a lot of these guys. In fact, I drove against most of them. And all these people were super good drivers, or definitely they wouldn't be on the top 50 list. But above everything else, all of them were winners. I think all of them were winners not only on the racetrack, but in life. And I think in the long run, it's made a tradition for all the drivers that's coming along today to look back and say, you know, this is what these guys have done to be the top 50. Maybe in the next top 50, I can be in it.
Gentlemen, start your engine!
I had a lot of respect for all the competitors, everybody ever raced against. Because, you know, one week it may be Richie Petty that you got to beat again. Next week it may be David Pearson you got to beat again, or Bobby Allison, or Baker, or Dale Earnhardt, or whoever. You know, it wasn't the same guy every week, so you had to have respect for all of them. I had respect for everybody.
The rivalries definitely fuel the fire. No matter how bad people hate to see it, anytime
some of the top drivers get into it in a real wild fashion. The fans go crazy. They love it.
You know, all drivers, they feel like they're as good as the next one when you get out there and run. If you don't, you wouldn't do no good. If anybody to come up and say, well, he's better than I am or something like that, he's definitely going to beat you.
Perhaps what distinguishes the great drivers from the good ones is an inner desire to be regarded as one of the best to have ever raced a stock car.
You think about all the competitors that have gone through this sport through the years. 50 years is a long time of racing, and you would think in 50 years that there'd probably be 150 or 250 great drivers. So to be on a short list like that is a great accomplishment. I'm very proud of it.
The accomplishments everyone's done throughout the years. It's still hard for me to believe at this point that I'm among those drivers.
I remember when I was voting, and you look down that list of great names and great race car drivers that influenced the sport in such a big way. And, you know, you see your name on there and you go, you know, I don't feel like I'm worthy to be on that list. To be voted in means a lot, and it's exciting.
I dedicated myself to racing a long, long time ago, probably when I was 11 or 12 years old, working on my father's car. And then when I got old enough, then, you know, I started driving my own deal and working on it. So it was kind of a deal that this was my first love, and still is as far as that's concerned.
This illustrious group of drivers has shaped the face of NASCAR for its first 50 years and set up what promises to be an illustrious next 5 decades. But there's much more to the NASCAR story than just great races and great drivers. Hope you'll join us next time when we examine the business of NASCAR racing on our next installment of Speedvision NASCAR at 50. For now, we're out of time. I'm Allen Bestwick. Thanks for watching.